All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, and we're back for the final regular season edition of the NFL show, Week 18. A bunch to talk about here. We got some crazy stuff. Obviously, teams arresting people, all kinds of stuff going on. I got Hoop Title here with me as always. If you guys are just joining us, do us a favor on the way in. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. We appreciate it. We also appreciate Pat for having us here all season long. We're not done. This is just the end of the regular season shows, but we will be back for the next, I think it's 2 more weeks after this, right? Wild card, division, 3 more actually, conference. So we're going to be back for a bunch. Hoop and I will be over on the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. If you haven't yet done so, get over there up to just around 5,100 subscribers. We're going to give away another big membership when we get to 6,000. So get over to that channel. We'll be back for the Saturday 2-gamer shows coming up for the next 2 weeks. We ran one yesterday. And Hoop, I'm going to bring you in before we get into anything else, man. Rough night for your boy. I really couldn't sleep last night, man. Just, wasn't that the Ravens lost. That was tough. I mean, at least they're all locked up for the rest of the season. Everything's good to go for the playoffs. But I just couldn't understand Harbaugh, that moral dilemma. Why did he not just get Aguilar his incentive last night? Like, how did he sleep at night not getting him that? I thought it was his moral right to get him that. Yeah. And then think about it from Huntley's perspective. Why couldn't he get him just 5 more catches in those yards that he needed? What happened, dude?
And Dalton Schultz, man, going to sleep, 1 catch short, misses his incentive. So both sides, I don't know how these coaches endure the fact that they didn't get their guys to the finish line. The offensive coordinators are supposed to be scheming plays to get these guys incentives. That's what we were told yesterday, right? And they all fell short. The ironic part, though, which we kind of talked about at the beginning, Aguilar ended up being a big part of the conversation yesterday, and he ends up on the optimal with 5 for 37 or 38, whatever it was. It was
8.9. I said take your 9 points and see what happens. He took 8.9 to the finish line with 31 people up top holding hands, but it happens. But like I said, the prop hit. I said these incentives sometimes good in the prop markets. You can make money with it there. But yeah, any thoughts on yesterday? Any thoughts on how the season went for us here? I mean, obviously the last one of the regular season. Appreciate everyone out there that is stuck with it, or if you're just joining us today, awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, appreciate obviously all the support, the growth, through these shows, the shows on our channel. The subscribers at SHIPITNation.com. I mean, it was a hell of a year, obviously. Football is obviously a big part of what we do. Cover many other sports. We continue to add on and improve, as we always say. But it was a hell of a year. Again, we're still going to be back, even more so on the weekends. Now we're going to be here, Saturday and Sunday, talking through both slates. There'll be massive prize pools. But in terms of the regular season, it was a hell of a ride. Looking forward to continuing on, looking forward to next football season, looking forward to, MMA's coming back next week, PGA's in full swing. We have a lot of, I know a lot of people say this shit in the industry. Oh, we got some big things on the horizon. Not bullshitting on this one. We have some big things, industry changing things on the horizon over here at SHIPIT Nation. And again, we're excited for that. And we really appreciate all the support all season long here.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to get in now if you haven't already. If you guys do want to get in before I bring my guy Title in, say go to the site, go to SHIPITNation.com, use the promo code MAYO, gets you 10% off any membership, even the PGA only memberships. So if you're wanting to get 10% off, you can't ever get a discount code on the weekly. The weekly is the cheapest you can possibly get. We really want to make sure you understand it's about the process, getting in. You need time to do so. So the monthly, season, 6-month, annual, whatever option you want to get in on. Title, my guy. Bring you in. It's been an awesome season doing all these shows. Like I said, we're not done. We're coming back. It's just the last of the regular season. Tell me this. You got your incentive sheet over there lined up to fill out all your rosters? You ready to go on all these big incentives today?
Not quite. You're asking the wrong person for that. I'll leave that up to you two, which I also know are the wrong people. But hey, what matters today is who's playing for something. Even if they're not, or like the Bears, Justin Fields is going to go out there and play as hard as he ever has, try and knock the Packers out, even though they aren't playing for anything. So just certain spots like that, we have clear value San Fran's resting their guys. You got cheap pieces there. Week 18 is always fun. There's always an interesting dynamic. And if you are playing on FanDuel, they did include the Sunday night big game, Miami Buffalo. So that is huge. Showdown, of course, there. But yeah, Tyreek's 9.5, CD's 10K, a little different ball game on FanDuel. So hey, if you're in first place going to that last game, you got a little extra sweat like the good old days. Not the Monday night like the good old days, but Sunday night it'll be a long sweat.
Yeah, I'll save that story for another day when the Mondays used to be included, just wild stuff. But yeah, the stuff you brought up there was great. I think first off, you mentioned the thing over on FanDuel, them including Buffalo, Miami. That's gonna be an awesome game tonight. They both need to get after it, so I'm excited for that. We'll have you guys covered for. We've got right now Ham's FanDuel slate plan is up. I use that myself to win over 200K this season. So if you are playing on FanDuel, definitely check out his slate plan on the site. We've got you guys covered tonight for the full showdown coverage, the projections, the ownership at captain and at MVP as well. Even the FanDuel ownership. Some sites don't include that. We've got you guys covered for the player pool with Hoop, my slate plan, all the core, including Titles 1 and Nades and Titles Cash coverage over there as well. So keep that in mind. But then the other thing you brought up too, I think people forget this all the time. And we talk about it. We are going to go through each game by game as usual with the motivation, all that. But some of these teams that are out, that's the what do you think the locker room talk is? If you're miserable that you're not getting to the playoffs and your season sucks, go make their life miserable and keep them out of the playoffs too. So there's a lot of motivation in all spots. We're going to talk about it when we go game by game. Hoop, I'm going to kick it to you first. So as we always do, grand scheme overview. What do we got for this one, man? Week 18, lots on the docket, 13 games.
Yeah, it's obviously a little bit different in terms of the dynamic of the slate with so many starters resting, so many starting quarterbacks, so many teams without anything to play for, a few teams with everything in the world to play for, the motivation through the roof. We'll go through, I mean, that is the important part, figuring out teams' motivation, who's going to play. It's almost like, NBA slate where you're trying to figure out minutes and workload and usage, that sort of thing. That's an important part of this slate. We've dug into all of it. And, as we go through these games, we'll kind of talk about how we see it going. Yesterday on the 2-game slate, I think you and I kind of nailed what would happen in that first game. I mean, Baltimore clearly had not much interest. I mean, those starters ended up playing a little bit more than I thought, and likely in Gus Edwards. I mean, I think that it's pretty dumb on Harbaugh's part to kind of roll those guys out there. They clearly weren't necessarily in it to win it, but it was a nasty, ugly game. Baltimore would have been fine getting out of that game with a 7-0 win and just be done with it. There's going to be more of those games on this slate too that we'll talk about. And then again, there's teams that have a ton of motivation that are playing for everything, trying to get in the playoffs. So the scenarios are very important. Looking at which guys are going to get a majority of the work, if the starters are out, that sort of thing. So we'll talk through it all, but that is definitely the important part of Week 18.
Yeah, and Ricky Bobby brings it up here. Would love a membership to the best group in the biz. Life has been rough and need a win. So Ricky Bobby, I'm going to kick it off. I'm in a good mood today. Email me info@shipitnation.com. We'll call it the Nelson Aguilar free membership. This is on Nelson for you, buddy. So we'll hook you up. Send a screenshot of your YouTube account. We'll get you a free month. We will give away, depending on what the likes look like, we'll give away at least a free membership for a month over to the site. And then shout out to our guy, Jeremy, JD Miffs 11 in the Discord. He reached out this morning, said he won the $100 last week, the member $100. He wants to pay that forward. So we got $200 to give away, $100 to a member, $100 to someone random out there as well.
Yeah, and just one thing to add on to this point, and I get it. We fully understood that from the beginning. Like, paying for content can't be for everyone. Like, we fully understand that, but that's the reason we set up the pricing structure like we did. So if you feel like you do need content and access to all these sports and all different sorts of content projections, that it's going to be the cheapest in the industry. So you do have the ability to get it even on like a tight budget, and we're not ever going to try to rip you off. You see it every time a new sport starts up. You see it again. Sites trying to essentially price gouge and capitalize on just essentially taking your money. For you see the golf package is super expensive. NASCAR's right around the corner. You're going to see a sites charging $500-$600 for freaking NASCAR. Like, it's crazy. So again, we get that not everyone can necessarily pay for content on a weekly, monthly, annual basis, but that's the reason why we set this up like we did. So you have the ability to do it at the cheapest rate in the industry.
Yeah, I love that call, and you brought it up. Like, this is the one it's a football show, but to bring it up, a lot of people watching the Mayo Media Network are probably in the PGA DFS streets, and football will end soon. We're excited for the playoff slates, the showdown slates. We love it. There's still lots of football going on, but we did just launch these PGA membership options, and the main thing here would be, like Hoop just said, multiple sites out there right now charge over $500 for the season. There's two that I can think of off the top of my head, not naming names, but it is what it is. You can use PGA 10 or Mayo and get $199 down to $179 for the entire season of PGA. That's through September 1st through the FedEx Cup playoffs. It works out to about $5 per event. That will go up to $239 starting next week. Hoop and I will be on the Tuesday show on our station breaking down the Sony Open. So you're going to want to get on that while you still can. It doesn't matter if you buy it today, tonight, tomorrow. Just don't forget about it, because when the price goes back up, that will be gone. Title, I'm going to bring you in, man. Any grand scheme overview for you? I mean, there's some stuff here that we'll get to we'll get to as we go along, but like stuff like this, right? We're going to get to all this. Some cases, maybe there isn't as much motivation or guys resting, and it's hard to pick who it would be on the other side. I know that Minnesota-Detroit game is a really interesting one, because it also can lean the other way, where it ends up being actually it's sneaky and makes something that's popular less popular. Not who you play, it's how you play them. But how are you seeing this one, man? 13 games. Give us your first thoughts.
Yeah, first of all, shout out Jeremy. I mean, that is very, very nice of you. $100 and you pay it back for another member. Shout out you, man. Good stuff right there. As far as this, yeah, it's a good question. The first game that jumps out is that Vikings-Lions, because Vikings got everything to play for, going to be going full force, and who knows what the Lions are really going to do. I mean, Dan Campbell went for it for the 2-point conversion at the 20-yard line last week. His mind was that set in stone. We don't know what his mind is. Maybe they roll out just a quarter, maybe a half. Maybe they play the whole game, but like that's a spot where I love Mullins, Jefferson, all them, and I'm fine not playing a Lion, but they will be lower owned. So yeah, I don't think you have to worry about run backs as much. And to be honest, this year I've worried about run backs less than I have in the past. I know Hoop has talked about it for years now on the run back stuff, but then messing around with Sims and all that as well. Sims have kind of showed that you don't need to jam it as much, stuff like that. So always trying to adapt my game. And I think Hoop was ahead of the curve on that, because I used to jam it, not this year, not as much. This week especially, not as much. As far as slate overview, Christian Kirk news is huge in this one. It is the first game of the night, or the first game of the day, so we will get the news. But yeah, he's min price on both sites. Seems like a pretty true game time decision. If he goes, he's going to get some ownership. I'm very excited to talk game by game, because I'm going to be messing with my pool. I got my initial thoughts, but what you guys say, I'm going to take into account a lot as well. Like, I'm debating when I was sitting in the cold plunge, thoughts roll through your head this morning. You really think, I'm like, man, Christian Kirk, I want him to play, because I might just completely X him in tournaments. Like, there's enough cheap options, stuff like that. Would he be on a snap count, et cetera? So a lot of thoughts going through my head. I think running back is a position a lot of people save. Jordan Mason, Pierre Strong, the Zamir White's range, like Tony Pollard, kind of as high as people go. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams you can throw in there. I think a lot of people go at least one spend receiver. Tight end, I think, is kind of a save position. Can't go Trey McBride. Quarterbacks, only a handful of guys. So I think roster construction, pretty similar there. So yeah, I'm excited to go game by game, talk incentives. And my thoughts right now in my initial pool probably will change by the end after I talk with you guys. But hey, last free money Sunday, baby. Week 18, regular season free money Sunday. It's been a little, last week wasn't so free. I need to get it back this week in the new year. So I'm excited to talk some football.
I was going to say, I'm not looking forward to next weekend if it's expensive money Sunday, because I want it to always be free. Like you said, I want to make that money. Mario Banks pops in and says $7 into millions. He's speaking your language, Hoop. He knows about Dwayne Johnson and the story. He must have been watching the same thing you were. We were talking pre-show about The Rock, but let's
get into it. Do we have a hot mic? Do we have a hot mic pre-show? I mean, what the heck?
I hope you didn't hear the rest of what we said, but it's all good. Let's get into it. We got 13 games. I think you brought up a good point. That was overnight. That was like just 5 or 6 hours ago that Rappaport tweeted that out about it looks like a less certainty now on Christian Kirk after everyone was so excited that he was activated. He's good. We got him at 3K, free K, or just free $1,000 over on DraftKings or whatever you want to say. But either way, I think it's something to keep an eye on. We will have that news, though. It looks like T-Law could be in, but we'll start with a different game here, Hoop, just before we get to that one. Let's go Atlanta, New Orleans, and talk to me about what you're doing here in this one. If anything, a little bit of Bijan love out there, it would seem, but I'm not seeing too much else after that.
Yeah, it seems like, well, the Saints will definitely be playing full out today. Like they have a chance, obviously, to win the division if the Bucs lose to the Panthers, and it's all at 1:00 Eastern, so they'll be playing all out. There is some concern with Alvin Kamara, what hasn't practiced, and it didn't sound super encouraging. I imagine he ends up playing in this spot, must win at home. So it's his ankle, so you have to monitor that. If he were to sit, then obviously some cheap offers. But Chris Olave definitely strikes me as a solid play here today. 6,700. The price tag is good. If Kamara's banged up in any way, shape, or form, that's a huge boost to a guy like Olave. But really, it's kind of it for me on the Saints side. I mean, I think you can always maybe consider Shaheed at 47. I mean, he's been on the winner a couple times this year. But I probably don't get to much of him. It's really just going to be Olave for me on the Saints side. On the Falcons side, Drake London, 5K, a little bit of interest there. Bijan, I don't think I necessarily get there today. So really it'll just be Drake London on the Falcons side, Chris Olave on the Saints side, and really not too much else for me in this one.
Yeah, real quick, definitely, Sam, if you want to hit me up, info@shipitnation.com or on X @ToeTagginTambo. The DMs are open there. You can just send me one. Definitely will take care of you for sure. So send something over there. Title, I'll kick it over to you. Juwan Johnson, 3,600, just a touchdown machine in this game. I'll get over my picks here quick, but I think it's really just Bijan and Juwan. And then maybe to Hoop's point, if you go like the Shaheed thing, though, I'm kind of stacking it with Carr because then I'll just go Carr, Shaheed, Juwan, and Bijan on the other side and go from there. We'll wait on the Kamara news, but it sounds like it's going to be right up till the game time decision. Again, news that we'll have before lock.
Hoop, that's just a given. I take it you pulled that up. You can put that up. You know how
it is a funny statement, and it is true. Last week that Bijan can just, as he says, murder my DFS day
this season. And then you hear this morning that they might pick up Belichick at head coach.
Yeah.
There's definitely more bad days in store for Bijan if that's the case. Try to figure out Belichick and his running backs. It's absolutely insane. So go ahead, Title. Sorry, take over, man. This game, Atlanta, New Orleans.
Man, this is one that I was hoping you guys could maybe talk me into some interest because I think both teams are going to be playing all out. It's in a dome. Like I like some Olave. There is Bijan. I think the pieces come in pretty low owned, but I don't like clicking Heineke's name. I don't like clicking Derek Carr's name. Like just hard. It makes sense why I'm not getting this game. It's a 13-game slate. That's also something we haven't mentioned. A lot of these regular season, a lot of these weeks have been 10 games with Thursday night football, Monday night football, bye weeks, etc. 13 games, and a lot of these teams do have something to play for or are playing their starters pretty heavily. So, yeah, I think I'm really on the same page. Like Olave would be my favorite. I like your Juwan Johnson call. I think this game comes in really low owned, so it's not like maybe a Drake London, maybe a Bijan. I don't think I'm stacking it up because I don't like Carr, I don't like Heineke, but the Olaves, Drake London, Juwan Johnson, Bijan, who mentioned Shaheed, I think that's fine. Probably all sub 10%, maybe outside of Olave. I'll be mixing and matching a little bit, just one-offs more so. But I was hoping maybe – I mean, you've been on Carr a little bit, Tambo. It's in a dome. I'm not sure. But, yeah, probably not. I was hoping you guys would talk me in a little bit. But I
only can get him because of that. Like, to me, it's all about what makes sense in my builds. I think, in the slate plan very little. Like, I just can't get to enough of them. But if you have – for me, if Shaheed breaks one and has a huge one, like it's a 60-yard touchdown or something, and Juwan catches one, well, that's already 2 touchdowns. Whatever yardage goes with it, that would just make sense. Yeah. You brought up a couple things there. One was the point of the slate. I think it's a 6 and 7. Isn't it the opposite of the – I think they actually have – it's really good, too, if you want to play early only or afternoon only. It's 2 real slates right there. If you do like shorter slates, you can break that up. But even for the main slate, there's lots of opportunity for late swap, things like that. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing, just going with it, was the setup of now I forgot my thought. It was something else that you said there that made me think of it. I'll come back to it, but the only way I can get Carr is if that happens. And now I remembered it. The optimals for the last 3-4 years, you go over to our partner on Line Star. There is some insanity in those optimals. Like I think one year it was like 350 points required. You basically need 20 to 25 points from every spot. I know
I'm out of this game. Thanks for saying that, because I'm out of this game. These guys aren't getting 25 points. Bijan, they ain't getting there. So thank you.
Just keep that in mind. And that's why I was going to bring this up. I should mention, I do like it a lot more, mainly because my guy Ham likes it a lot more over on FanDuel with Bijan at 6.9K. On DraftKings, really tough to get to anybody else there once we get to some of these other spots. But especially to a guy like Bijan, FanDuel 6.9, I could fit it in and hope for those touchdowns. It's not the same scoring system where you need possibly 350 like on DraftKings as we've seen. Hoop, let's go to this next game, man. Jacksonville, Tennessee. We talked about it already. Just waiting on some news here with Christian Kirk. But beyond that, and then talking if this, then that, let's talk about this game.
Yeah, so Christian Kirk is probably one of the biggest pieces of news on the slate. I mean, 3K on DK. What is he on the FanDuel titles? 4K. And 4K. Yeah, so both sites have him at the bare minimum. Legitimate, top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. His ownership, I don't know. Now that he's questionable in game time decision, it's kind of hard to gauge where it ends up. I think if there was no questionable tag and fully good to go this week and at 3K, he's super highly owned, but now there's a little question mark behind whether or not he plays. I think it does bring down the ownership just a little bit. Your point earlier, I don't know if it was on the show or before we hopped on, is very valid though. There's a lot of cheap wide receivers that you can play today. So, it's kind of similar to me in the fact of PGA DFS, when you're playing a full punt 6K guy, do you want to play the popular guy, or do you just want to get exposure to 5 or 6 other guys that are going to be unowned or much lower owned? So I think it is an interesting situation. He will be in my player pool regardless, but I will be playing other cheap guys as well to go along with him if he's in. Now, if he's out, Zay Jones at 3,800 looks real nice to me. I'd be in on him, maybe a little bit of Tim Jones. You could add him to the conversation. Then Ridley gets the big boost at 6.5K. So, and then Ingram too. Ingram would get a little bit of a boost. So everyone gets a boost if he's out. And they would all go up in terms of my ownership and exposure. Need to see the news. I mean, it sounded like he was going to play earlier in the week, and then the report last night didn't sound all that promising. So we'll have to monitor that. Trevor Lawrence, he'll gut it out and play today. But man, I don't know. I don't think I'm necessarily going to get to him. I mean, you know what? If Kirk's out, maybe I do get to him because I know I'm going to play some more Ridley. I'm going to play some more Ingram. Probably bump up ETN, which you can kind of pair those guys together sometimes. So I don't know. It's a situation where I imagine Trevor Lawrence is really low on. They need to win. They're going to absolutely have to win in this game. The ownership, I just wanted to pull it up and see. It would be very low. So he's a guy I could potentially add, just get a couple pieces to if I know I'm going to have a lot of Ridley, Zay Jones, and Ingram. ETN, I want some exposure to as well. I know I just kind of threw his name out there, but he should be low owned. It's a must-win spot. They're projected to score 23. And then on the Titans side, the only guy I'm playing is DeAndre Hopkins at 6,100. I think he's a fine option, fine run back if you are playing a lot of Jaguars. Not super worried about run backs or whatnot. I agree with you guys when it comes to that. But Hopkins at 6,100 is a fine standalone play or fine guy to play if you have a lot of Jags on the other side.
Oh, and don't forget, he has huge incentives today, right? If you go look for his incentives, 7 receptions for 250K, 39 yards for 250K. I can be pretty confident he's getting his 250K on the 39 yards. I think they go to him enough there. But again, not why I would be playing him. The one thing you did bring up that I like there before I go to title, just if things do get a little more condensed, if somehow Kirk is out, I like Calvin Ridley. I'll get to that in a second. And I like Ingram. Then I would probably go with a guy like Trevor Lawrence who can get you 25 to 30 points. He's definitely done it 2 or 3 times this season alone, and he's got it through injury as well. Must-win spot, good matchup. But everyone's talking about Christian Kirk and forgetting the DFS rule of 2023-24 season is if Zay Jones, then Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, 6,500. Zay Jones out on the field no matter what happens with Christian Kirk here. Zay, they said, is going to be good. And it's Christian Kirk, the one that we're waiting on. Again, we'll see how that goes. But I like Calvin Ridley even as a standalone piece at 6,500 here. Not because of that. That's more of a joke. But just in general, I do think that it's going to be a way to get unique. You have the money to spend if you're paying down at running back. There's quarterbacks that I'm paying down for this week. So I can get to Calvin Ridley quite comfortably. And we've seen that happen before. So I like a game here for Ridley. Title. What are you doing here in this one?
Yeah, I like Ridley, D-Hop. Those are my 2 favorite plays in this game. ETN is interesting. kind of flips the build. Someone mentioned it here, but we talked earlier, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, like a lot of people will be spending at receiver. Running back's really good, especially value. I think Pollard's the highest most people go, or at least the highest owned of that tier. ETN will get you different. We just saw it last week. I mean, he has that one play big time upside, must win game, 5-point favorites. Like ETN makes sense, and he's going to be low owned. So I think I'll bump him up a little bit. The Trevor Lawrence, the Christian Kirk stuff's really interesting. I want him to play, and I don't know. We'll see if I have the stones to just hit the X button on him. But something's telling me like a groin's tough. Like it sounds worse overnight. Even if he is, Tambo, you don't sound as confident. Like
I don't want him in tournaments very much. Like I'll be way underweight to the field.
I'll probably play him in cash. Like if he's in, he's 3K. So in tournaments, I'm talking. Like, are you going to hit that X? Or like if you got 6%?
I don't hit it. My DK app still works properly, so I don't have to X or all in. But I'm going to definitely be way underweight to whatever the field is, even if the ownership comes down on him, like Hoop said, where it's like there is this up to the thing is it's before lock. Enough people are tuned in that maybe it comes down 5%, which is right. But I'll still be way underweight that. I just take whatever it trickles in the lineups that it makes sense. So I'm not going to get crazy with them in tournaments. There's so many guys that you can get this week and across all games. There's even good leverage spots. Like we'll get to it later, but Richie James, Ronnie Bells, guys like that are in other spots in other games where people go into Noah Gray. Me too. I'm going to have some Noah Gray lineups when we get there later. It's not never Mahomes because guess why? Mahomes sitting on the bench this week. But if you get to Noah Gray, it's fine. But Richie James could end up being the guy. Well, there's a little bit of ownership on Noah Gray, things like that. So there's lots of other opportunities to get to for cheap plays in this slate. If I were you, and I know you're going to be heavy in the cash streets, it's a great cash week. I think that you could just do that, no problem. But I wouldn't talk you out of it. I think you could definitely get different elsewhere. And again, he's got to get 20 to 25 points from anything I've ever seen. So I would rather take my chances on these other guys. Yeah.
As far as the Lawrence stuff, I mean, we're back to Mr. 15. Every time I hear about him, ankle, shoulder, he's definitely not 100%. Feels like if they can rely on ETN and get it going on the ground, they will. I don't know. I probably won't get to too much Lawrence. I get it, though. If there's no Kirk, like we've talked about all year, Ingram, Ridley, there's very concentrated guys, and that's when you do pair the quarterback with them. I probably won't get there as much. Just D-Hop on Tennessee side. Some interest in ETN to get different. Ridley, D-Hop, my favorite plays, though. Ingram at tight end's fine. Kirk's the big talking point, though, and we'll get that news before lock.
Yeah, I mentioned ETN Jags D, too. I can do that one as well. I don't have any problem there. By the way, Derrick Henry needs just 286 yards on the ground today to get 500K. Like, some of these incentives are absolutely hilarious. Hoop, let me kick it to you, man. Your team is at home. This one's going to be a big talking piece, so we'll get there now. Minnesota at Detroit. Obviously big for Minnesota, but Detroit, the angle is that, they don't have to get after it. They're still favored. Dan Campbell, you never know with him, can be a very competitive guy. I said it to you guys earlier. I know I saw stuff last year in their the way they had such a good season, and everyone was like, man, he's the man. They'll get it back next year. Sure as hell they have. Look at them now. But it's like he was saying, it's not an 18-game season, right? It's you play till you get to the Super Bowl, and now this year, that is the truth. They have a chance to go on that path. I know you're going to be at the game next week. So unlikely that they get to the 2 seed. They need Dallas and Philly to both lose. But give me your thoughts on this one, man, because Dan Campbell can be an interesting coach when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the, very few, like 50-50 up in the air spots. Like we don't know, like what the coach is going to do. We don't know, the game plan. Very hard to predict. I mean, the guy literally went for 2 from the 7-yard line instead of just kicking a extra point and going to overtime. Like he's a maniac, and that's why people love him. But for a situation like this, where they're essentially locked into where they're going to be the 3 seed most likely, unless Dallas. I mean, what are the odds of Dallas and Philadelphia both losing today? Got to be very, very low. So, I don't know, man. Like, the Lions have not had a lot of success, like, long-term, and this is big for them to be the 3 seed, home playoff game. I know he wants to keep this team kind of moving a little bit, but I don't know. My gut tells me there's just no way he rolls these guys out for a full game. Like, I just can't see it happening. They're projected to score 25 points. Like, they're one of the highest team totals on the slate. So that's the thing that kind of draws me back in, like, a little bit. So for tournaments, if you want to get risky, Like Amon-Ra St. Brown should be very low owned, I'd imagine. Laporta should be low owned. Gibbs, David Montgomery, all pretty low owned. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the spot. Curious to obviously hear what you guys say on it. But for tournaments, I think it is somewhat interesting, especially on teams where you're playing the Vikings. If you're going to be in on the Vikings, on the Mullen stuff, the Justin Jefferson, Munt as a punt tight end, Munt as a punt.
Well, there you go. You got it.
Do it.
Munt as a punt. If you're going to be in on all that stuff, yeah, maybe get some exposure to the Lions. I don't know if I will today, though, to be honest with you. It's tough. It really is tough. But again, if Dan Campbell has the mindset, we're not slowing this thing down, let's go, full force ahead, you're going to be way ahead of the field because, the owner, let me see, ownership on, St. Brown, it's still showing, 10, 11, 12-ish potentially. So people might be on. I don't know if I'm going to get there or not. So, but I will be on the Viking stuff, though. I think it does make sense. Mullins to Jefferson, Addison, Munt, the punt in on him. So we've got some options on that side.
Yeah, shout out to Kid. Said, first said he was going to join a rival show and then came over here. So first off, we appreciate that. Second of all, that second part you said is definitely what we're trying to do, man. We less small talk, more slate talk, and not just the picks and plays that we're on as much as trying to figure out what others are going to do on the slate, how we can adapt to beat the others and go from there. Hoop the poet, and he didn't know it. Listen to him. Yeah, that's a way to put it together for that. But I think this is some of the talking pieces here. So I'll go to title first before I give my thoughts. But yeah, JMO, we've been trying to make him work all season. Now we can't. There's no chance today, so we're not going to get to. But that leaves guys like Raymond at just 3K. Remember this too. You have to field a team. Well, we even saw it last night. The Ravens had to get Gus in there a little bit. They had to get Likely in there, and they chose to get Likely in there as they got closer to the end zone, right? And so that can be something you see too with guys like a Laporta or a Gibbs or an Amon-Ra. Let's not use them as full out, but let's use them when it makes sense. They still want to get out and get this game. And someone said it earlier too, our guy AF Gator. This is the thing, right? Remember back years ago, it wasn't always like this with the resting. And I was like, you keep your team fresh because the season is not just the season. It's you got to get all the way to the end. Sometimes you see guys sit the week before and then get injured in the playoff game, or they weren't fresh for it. They're down, not in the right mindset. So you just never know what that looks like. Give me your thoughts here, though, Title. What do you got?
Yeah, when Hoop was talking, and then when you said you need 280 to win or whatever it may be, I'm just Xing out Detroit now. Man, I'm with Hoop side. I maybe play a half. Yeah, it's Dan Campbell. The dude went for it for the 2-point conversion on the 7-yard line, and he probably would have done it on the 20-yard line. He was that committed. So what he has in his head right now, he's probably doing. No one knows. So would I be shocked if they played all game? No. But it just doesn't make logical sense. TJ Watt goes down yesterday. Of course, they had to play. But if Amon-Ra goes down, Gibbs goes down, he's gonna hear it. There's more to play for. They don't need to play. So, and it's not only that. They have Laporta, Amon-Ra, Montgomery, Gibbs. You still got to get the right one right, even if they do play all game on a 13-game slate. So I talked myself out of it. If you're MMEing 150 stuff, maybe a sprinkle here and there. But as Hoop said, Amon-Ra still might be 15% or something like that. I'd rather just jam Jefferson, jam what I know, get different other spots. So I'm not going line side. I'm not that confident that Dan Campbell's going to do that. Don't just tail me and X him out because I'm saying that. I'm going to make more stands in week 18. That's what I usually do than any other week and try and guess what coaches are going to do. So no Lions, but I do love Mullins. I love Jefferson. I love Munt. They do need a lot to go their way to make the playoffs, but they play before the Packers. They play before the Seahawks. They're going to play to win this game in a dome, pass funnel. Detroit hasn't been great. Yeah, Madison. I ain't clicking Madison's name. I know that for free. So it's really simple, though. I like Mullins. 5,100 is cheap. Jefferson's the man. I'm playing a bunch of Jefferson. Johnny Munt for a cheap punt tight end. I do prefer him with Mullins stuff. I think he's fine as a one-off, but Noah Gray's there. There's other stuff. But, yeah, it's really just Jefferson, Mullins, Months, but Jets is the man. I'll be playing a bunch.
Yeah, I'm going opposite both. I'm definitely playing Detroit guys here. I don't care. Like I said, it's even at 10 or 11%, Jefferson's going to be 30. So if we want to make this thing happen, and that's the other thing too, just to keep it going, I don't see Minnesota as a team that necessarily, they have to win. So don't get me wrong on this. I'm saying, but they're not the team that puts up 40. Now, how does it get to a big game for all those Minnesota guys? Because everyone's playing Mullins. He's one of the most popular quarterbacks on the slate because of price, because of motivation, because of all that. To make it all work, though, I think we need to take some shots. I'm going to mix in those cheap guys, though, too. Like, again, they have to field a team. Raymond, Reynolds, they're fine. But I'm actually going to play some lineups with Amon-Ra. That's the other thing, too. If you even just look back at last night, like I said, with the Ravens, who didn't have to play shit, you still saw some of those guys get in there for enough. And like I said, it was closer to when they got down there. Hoop said a 25-point team total and still favorites at home. That was the other funny part about the Aguilar thing. The line did come out later in the night, exactly what we said it would be. 35.5. They knew that Zay and Odell were out. They knew about the incentives. They know everything. And they got beat on the line by a last-minute throw. But they don't. The point was, it's the stuff is still out there. Everyone knows this stuff. So I'm going to definitely mix them in. I think it's the way that you get different within this game. I don't want to run up a Madison leverage play here. Instead, I prefer to go a game stack and overstack, and let's see if these guys actually ceiling out and give some to the Detroit side. And Dan Campbell, many things we said, no one knows, though, like Title said. So if he gets competitive, if he gets cocky, if he gets whatever, you never know what he's going to continue to do. Yeah. And also, it could be a half is all you need. Like Amon-Ra could go 8 for 120 in the – who was it last night? Nico Collins, 5 for 129. Now, they needed to win and play. I'm not comparing to the motivation. I'm saying how quick a guy can run. Jefferson, Title, multiple 100-yard first quarters last season, I believe. It can just happen, right? So I'm definitely going to be in on mixing those guys in to my MME stuff. Go ahead.
To add on, I think it's much more likely that they play being at home opposed to on the road, too. I think that is definitely a factor in all this.
Yeah, I like that call as well. I think the defense is going to go hard also. So, yeah, there's lots of ways you can attack it. Gibbs is in the mix as well. I mean, they have Montgomery and Gibbs, so you never know. We saw, lots of stuff last night. I saw even Gus got into the mix for the Ravens, almost got in for the touchdown. So you need a lot of points here. Like that part I get and said it myself off the top, but I think it's a way to get different within a popular spot in a popular game. Moving on, let's go to what looks like Belichick's final game in New England. We'll see how that actually plays out, but Hoop, I'm going to kick it to you here. We got the Jets at New England. The total's already dropped down to 29.5. You say this all the time. You know it. It's a big-time weather game. If you didn't check it, you can check it out now, but big-time weather game, and the total's moving with it. I think it was 31 when we started the show, and now I think it's down to 29 or 29.5. So yeah, it's already moving.
Yeah, snow all game. It looks like somewhat heavy snow. Winds 15, gust 35. I mean, it's going to be a nasty setup here for NFL game with two pretty bad offenses, and that's why the total's sitting at 29. This isn't like the spot earlier in the season. What was it? The Steelers and Patriots, where it was the 30 total and win over instantly. Like this to me is a much different situation. You got more of the weather factored in here. Two teams. I mean, this is going to be a miserable situation for these teams that have nothing to play for. That's why the total is sitting at 29. You have the head coach for the Patriots likely out. It just doesn't seem like a fun situation to get into. So for me, I'll reluctantly continue to play Zeke, I guess, at running back. It could be a spot where he literally gets like 30 touches potentially. But I mean, Kevin Harris, I mean, they're willing to use him a little bit too. But I'll have some Zeke, and that will be it. Defenses definitely, both Jets and Patriots defense, phenomenal plays. So defenses and Zeke, and that is it.
Yeah. Did you know, by the way, Zeke, 226 scrimmage yards for 300K. I don't even know when the last time that happened, but you think?
I can't imagine. No, I can't imagine the 300K matters to him all that much either. I mean, he's had some big contracts.
Yeah, he had a very big contract that he probably feels very good about because he definitely didn't pay it off. That's for sure.
Hell no.
Title, I'll let you talk about this one quick. I'm actually going to pull up our stack rankings right now just to have a quick look at those as well. I was told yesterday we don't do enough good production value. They want us to do some crazy stuff, like even if it doesn't make sense, as long as we do some shifting and move it around, we're good, they said. So I'll get stuff up on the screen, but you can talk about this game. We'll worry about producers in the future. But for now, we're going to continue producing it ourselves. Go ahead.
I mean, easy. Zeke can get 30 touches. We'll probably get 35 yards. Exit all offense, jam the defenses, easy game. Unless you got 6 TVs, 6 screens, this game should not be on your screen early in the game. It's going to be bad. So jam defenses, fade everything else, easy peasy. And when you scared me for a sec because you were like, you're going to pull up these rankings. I'm like, I swear, if we have Patriots or Jets near the top, please don't pull that up. So we're good.
Yeah, I did.
No, I think they're actually at the bottom. So the fact you brought up the defenses is really good. One thing I do want to talk about quickly in this game is Pop Douglas. The thing about Pop Douglas, he never actually pops. So on a slate when you need 25 from your guys, I mean, it looks like he was getting some ownership. Unfortunately for all of us, it looks like the weather brought him down a little bit. So it's not going to be good for that scenario. So we'll see. But I think Zeke, the Patriots D, could be fine. Maybe they want to go out and play for Belichick. I know it's not like they haven't all season, it seems, but he's working with what he can out there. I mean, they're still going to go out and do what they got to do to get through this game. I think they run it a lot. I think their defense can still show up. It just takes anything in a weather game, slip ball, whatever, lots of different ways it can go. But real quick on the stack rankings and back to that first game or the previous game, Hoop, without running it back, I mean, just running this side, Mullins, Munt the Punt, and Jefferson is far and away the best value, regardless of the ownership that's coming with that. It is far and away the best value on our stack rankings. Interestingly enough, though, like I said earlier, never Mahomes. There is no Mahomes today. So maybe it's always Blaine Gabbert day, but you could do the Richie James, Noah Gray, Gabbert stack and really mix that one up. Obviously, Dak's popping, Derek Carr from earlier, a little bit, and then Geno. But we'll go back. Yeah. Let's get back from there.
I like that Geno stuff. We'll talk about that when we get to that game, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that when we get to the game there. I'm going to stop. I'm going to go back so that we keep our production value high on this one, get Title back in there. Look at that movement we did with Title. You guys see that? Boom, bang.
Who's calling for a producer? You don't need a producer when you got the multi-talented Tambo at the helm. Like, we don't need a freaking producer here.
We're good. Let's keep it going. Producer said to keep the show rolling. Let's go to Tampa Bay, Carolina. Title, I'll start with you. Baker Mayfield, big incentive day if we want to talk that. But in general, just obviously Tampa got to get this going here against Carolina. It's a low total, but we've seen crazier stuff. What's your thoughts on this one, Tampa, Carolina?
Yeah, this one kind of falls in the same boat as the Saints game for me, where I just like other spots more with the stack. I mean, I know I'm not playing any of these Carolina pieces. This Bryce Young experiment, man, there got to be seeing what CJ's been doing all year and Bryce Young. Tough scene there for sure. You whiffed on that one, but Mike Evans, Rashad White, Godwin, I think all fine as one-offs. I don't love Baker as much. I love what you said right from the get-go with line star and all that, the 280, the 300. Baker's shown it, but I like multiple other quarterbacks and stacks that I think have that more upside to get the 30+, which is not what I'm looking for. So, hey, Baker's been great. I don't think it's the craziest thing. He has clear pairings. I'll be more so just one-offing Evans, Godwin, Rashad White, though. They want to win. I'm good with all of them. Carolina I don't think they can move the ball at all. I think it'll be more of a slow pace game that way. So yeah, mainly just one-offs for the three main dudes, but no Carolina.
Any White or Hubbard? I know you said no Carolina, so no Hubbard. Any White though?
Yeah, White. I don't think Hubbard's the craziest play, but I'd rather other running backs. But yeah, I like White, Godwin, Mike Evans. Yep.
They seem capped a little bit too as far as ownership's concerned. That's I wonder. It doesn't look like they're getting too much for guys that have just got all the volume for their teams lately. Obviously, Rashad White could be the guy that comes in. Also, I think this would be a spot where, if you're going to go a cheaper stack, we went back to our stack rankings there for a second. If you were going to go to Gabbert, Richie James, and Noah Gray, I don't know if it's to get the 20 from all of them. If you got a touchdown from both those guys, you would need it to go perfect. I get it, but it also would help you get some 40s into your lineup that could make up for it. If there's 40s out there today, it's a 13-game slate, lots of opportunity. But I do like the point you made here. If you did want to run Baker, forget the incentives, and run like a Baker, Mike Evans, that could be a spot. What if Baker gets Mike Evans for 2? They both get you what you need. You can still fill it out with more 20 to 25s, and you don't need to go overboard. You don't need to run a Carolina run back if you don't want to, all that type of stuff. So I definitely think that's the way to handle a spot like this more so. But Hoop, I'll kick it to you.
DJ Chark, any thoughts on that? Like if you were doing Baker, he'd be the one that I'd make 3,700, a pivot down there if Kirk plays. Any thoughts on that? Maybe I shouldn't X everything.
No Mingo either. We don't got to worry about him anymore either. So that's definitely something that you could do. I just think, like you said, you don't necessarily have to either. Chark, though, can get you that 20+. We just saw him pop 28 on the board recently.
Yeah, for the first time ever.
Well, there's always time for seconds, man. Sometimes you go back for
sloppy seconds. Yeah. Get in there for some sloppy seconds.
No, I don't know about that, but hop in on this one, Hoop. Give us your thoughts, Tampa Bay, Carolina.
Yeah, the initial point that Title had, it's like White, Evans for sure. They're going to be in my player pool individually, though. I'm not going to really be on the Baker stuff. It's going to be White. If they get a lead, I mean, they need to win this game. I think they find a way to just grind it out with Rashad White. So I'll continue to play him. Mike Evans has the big play upside. ownership on Evans doesn't seem all that high last time I checked. I mean,
it won't be high.
Yeah,
It's forgotten.
really low. Yeah, really low. So yeah, definitely give me some Evans. Godwin, if he falls into some teams, I'm cool with that. But I'm not playing anything on the Carolina side.
Yeah, we're gonna keep looking for these likes, guys. All right, we got $200 to give away, 100 to a member, 100 to a random person in the chat, as well as a monthly membership. But I am going to put it up right now. If you guys want to check out SHIPITNation.com, while you're taking your 2 seconds to get this off the screen, hit the like button. It's easy to do. It takes 2 seconds, but we got you covered over at SHIPIT Nation. Lots of stuff going on right now with PGA back. There is additional packages that we just launched for the PGA only membership option. So really this week was the Century. It's kind of a smaller field, a 59-man no cut. We're having some big sweats in the chat, but you never know if it's a sweat in a no cut event. So we're going to wait till later in the day to see how it actually shakes out, but been some good showdown days so far. And then we've got it starting back next week. Sony Open is the first big event of the season, cut event, full field, everything going on. If you guys want to check it out, you can get it on the monthly or the season long. If you want to check it out for a week, you can do that as well. Kick it back here. Anything else you guys want to mention on this one, Title? If not, we can go to Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Yeah, nothing more to talk about in that one. As far as this game, well, the Browns side, Pierre Strong is going to be one of the more popular plays on the slate. So the Browns aren't playing for anything. The story of the year, man, Joe Flacco, though, what amazing what he's done. I'm cheering for them in the playoffs, no doubt. But yeah, today, I think it's really just Pierre Strong or bust on the Browns side, not messing with anything else. Bengals is interesting. Like, they're not playing for anything, but Jamar Chase, like, he says, I love football. Like, I'm not 100%. I'm 75%, but you never know on your last game. I love that attitude. Love all that. He's still a young kid, wants to go out there. I think he's interesting, man. Like, I don't know. I'll let you guys more so touch on that, but I'm very much considering playing a Jamar Chase, some Joe Mixon. I even think Browning is going to be very low. Owen's interesting as well. He's been working with these guys for a while, 22 team total. They're at home. Again, I think they're just going to run out their guys a full game, and I think this team comes in pretty low owned. So this is one of the spots I had highlighted that I want you guys to talk about. But Chase is a contrarian guy in that top range. Mixon not getting much love. Browning for pretty cheap. I'm interested in those three, and it mainly is just those three. No T. Higgins, of course, which is why I have even more interest in the Chase stuff. But Pierre Strong, he's going to be popular. Why not get some of the other side with that? And I don't mind Bengals defense as well. I mean, Bengals defense, I think, is a very strong play. So give me your thoughts on these Bengals guys, though, especially Jamar.
I'm on the Browning side a little bit because I think if Jamar, then Browning. Like, to me, if Jamar has a big game, he's the opposite of like a Amon-Ra or like a Justin Jefferson. They can just come out and get 8 catches for 130, no touchdown, and still be involved. Whereas I think if Jamar Chase has a big game, it's a touchdown or 2 with yardage, with catches, with everything to go with it, which would then help a guy like Browning. So I don't hate that. I like your Cincy D call. I think the bigger one in this game is what everybody's talking about is the Pierre Strong situation, because the setup there, and this is what gets pretty tricky and interesting at the same time. So Hoop, I'm curious your thoughts on this. He's the stone minimum for running backs, 4,000. Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford look like they're going to be active, but why would they roll these guys out there heavy? Maybe some Hunt gets out there, things like that. Sure, we understand that. But then also on the other side, Mixon is not in a bad spot, and there's nobody. I mean, I guess you could say Chase Brown has competed with him a little bit, but Mixon can still pop here for sure at 6,300. So I do think there's some interesting running back conversation. And then anything else you want to mention within this game?
Yeah, this was the spot that I kind of had highlighted as well. I think one of the more interesting spots on the slate. And I kind of compare this to the Lions situation. I just think it's so much more likely we see these Bengals guys play the entire game, and you're looking at similar price points here. Joe Mixon to like Gibbs and Montgomery, same range. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, somewhat close. I think I want to be on the Bengals stuff more. I think there's a chance they're at home here. They just come out and play. And if they play like against a defense that, they're not going to – against a team that has nothing to play for, they could come out and put up a score here to close out the season. Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, I think definitely stand out. Browning is very interesting play. Browning just wanted to pull up ownership, and I'm imagining super low owned type play. I can't imagine many. Yeah, less than 5%. So and it's you know who you're stacking him with. If I'm playing Browning, I'm just going straight to Jamar Chase. Like I want any Browning team I have needs to have Jamar Chase on there. I like Mixon as well. It's really those three. It's Browning, Mixon, Chase. Should be low owned. It's going to be an overlooked sort of spot. If you want to run back, yeah, you can play Pierre Strong on the other side. Another punt tight end, Harrison Bryant, 2,500. I can't imagine Njoku's gets many reps out there today. So I think the Bengals are a very interesting team today, and I will be on them in tournaments.
Yeah, I don't hate that. It's like I said, that's how I would probably stack it up too. Is the Cincy side, like you mentioned, and you could even put like Browning with Mixon, the checkdowns, and then Mixon does the work. You could get him in there with Chase always, like you said. I would do that for sure. With no Higgins, I guess people are looking at, not for ownership wise, but Tyler Boyd's been mentioned some. Trenton Irwin, who gets in on the action some. I see that stuff there. But anything you took away from that title? I know you were looking for some other answers, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, no, I like the Chase. I like it even more. Like I compared it kind of the Lions stuff, but I feel confident that they're going to be out there. Especially Chase. He literally said he's like 70% earlier in the week or something. He's still playing. So that means why would he just play a quarter, just play a half, etc.? I've always been a Tyler Boyd sucker. The dude prior to Jamar Chase and stuff used to print, tough dude in the slot. So maybe I'll bump him a little bit in Browning stuff. But yeah,
can he get us 20 though? Can he actually get us?
He used to, man. Back in the day, like he used to be getting the 25 spots. I know it's a whole different spot. I don't know that. But he's like what 3% owned. Like that's the stuff I look at that makes it a little easier. Chase by far, Mixon, the Browning stuff. I like this, but someone said Flacco's playing. It's going to be Driscoll for the most part, and Nate D. I'm hopping on the Browns train, baby. Hard not to root for Flacco, but yeah, I like this.
I'm betting on the Browns next week. I got a feeling we get to a Browns-Ravens game somehow, and we'll have to see how the seeding shakes out.
Flacco just owns the MVP. Wouldn't that be something?
Be the worst look ever for the Ravens and for Lamar, especially. That would be a problem. But a couple notes here, just real quick. Someone just brought it up. Yeah, this one, Jay. Yeah, I really like this note. Don't forget to hit the likes. Almost 600 watching now, not even 200 likes. So again, the year 2024. I know things are tight out there. Times are tough. Likes are still free. Takes 2 seconds. It helps us out a ton. Obviously, we keep all of our shows for free. It takes 2 seconds. I have to pause throughout the show to continue to talk about it when you don't just hit it. So it's easier just to hit it, and we won't start the giveaways till 2:50 anyway. So make it easy on us. Make it better for you. Let's get to this afternoon slate. Lots of games still to go through here. Hoop, I'm going to start with you. Your boy, Dak Prescott, 13-point favorites on the road. Craziest part of this is, though, I know he's going to be popular, but the point would be his best games are in these like spots where everyone's like, oh, but it's going to be a blowout or it's going to be a Pollard week. And then he throws for 30 to 35 DraftKings points, or gets there, I should say, however he gets there. But talk to me about this one, Dallas, Washington.
Yeah, I mean, these are the spots we've kind of capitalized on all season, where they see Dallas as big 2-touchdown favorites. It's got to be Tony Pollard, right? I mean, that's the only way. They're 2-touchdown favorites. It has to be Pollard. He's going to get his 3 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. And then it's Dak to CeeDee Lamb, which we've seen all season long. Pollard just can't get the job done. And we talked about, I believe it was on the Cash Show Friday. I don't even necessarily know if it's like all his fault, because the defender is in his face the second he gets the ball, which is crazy because they have this good offensive line. It's just been a weird season for Pollard. Could he get the job done today? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to have a lot of Pollard, but man, I have to be on the Dak to CeeDee Lamb stuff. And I will say, if you are a member, as the show's been going along, I have made some updates to my core, and I feel pretty good about it today. So make sure to head on over to the core report and check that out. But in terms of this game, Dak, CeeDee, Pollard, Cooks, I'm good with. Jake Ferguson at tight end, 4,900. They're projected to score 30. Just a lot of different ways this could go. They're very incentivized to win this game. They win, they lock in the 2 seed, which is big for them. They need that home game because they have been a little rough on the road. Now, going to Washington is going to be much different than whoever they play in the playoffs. So I'm not worried about the road situation here today against a dead Washington team. But in the playoffs, they kind of need that 2 seed. So they're going all out today. A lot of different options here offensively. Again, just don't dismiss the Dak stuff because they're 2-touchdown favorites. I mean, that's been a huge mistake for a lot of people all season long. Not if you're a SHIPIT Nation member, because we've been on these situations all season long. In terms of run backs, yeah, just nothing here on the Washington side, but heavy Dallas.
Yeah, it just came out, Nick Underhill. So Kamara's going to be out today. Just back to that one from earlier. So title, I'll go to you.
That's big.
Yeah, it's definitely news. So I'll get Title's take on it here first, and then Title, you can take us into your thoughts on this Dallas-Washington game.
Yeah, Jamal, it's very interesting.
They need to win too. I mean, he must be really dinged up because they need to win this game. Yep.
Let's see. Jamal is 5,200. Mason's still down there. Pierce Strong, just another guy in that mix. I'm not. It'll be interesting. Ownership, I think, will dictate some. But I still don't think he becomes like the chalk. I think
it brings down the ownership on those other guys a little bit. It has to. I mean, because there's only so many spots you can play these running backs. So, a lot. He's going to get ownership. There's no doubt about it. But everyone else,
Taysom.
I think.
Everyone's saying Taysom, 4,600. Oh, gosh, is right.
Please no.
He's on FanDuel, he's $100 more than Juwan Johnson, just a note.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah.
I'll be looking at that touchdown prop pretty heavy for sure. Yeah, there's still we're talking Olave, Shaheed, Taysom, Jamal. There's still enough mouths there. I don't know. I'll definitely have to look into that situation more, but nothing screams like lock button, even though that's not even a thing. But I don't know. I'm gonna have a little time to digest that. Interesting stuff. As far as I don't want Taysom's gonna be tough. I'm more on FanDuel where touchdown equity means more. I think makes some more sense. As far as this Dallas game. Not much to add. I don't like the Washington side. CD is one of the best plays on the slate. FanDuel, he's going to be not low owned by any means, but Tyreek is $500 less. That game's on the slate. Diggs is down there. So he's going to be his ownership will be in check a little more on FanDuel at 10K with that Miami game compared to DK. He's still going to get ownership. He's a great play, even in this script, etc. I love Jake Ferguson. I mean, the dude's the freaking man. They need to win that tight end position. He has 2 touchdown upside. So definitely love him. Yeah, there's Pollard. We know the story. Who knows? Maybe one day he'll get there. I'll have some. Outside of that, though, I don't know how much Dak I'm going to have. Talk to me, Tambo. What are you doing with the Dak stuff?
Well, we're definitely in on Dak. I'm going to get into it in 1 second because I got to bring up a couple things here. So we're almost at the 250 likes. Our guy Super Hua says he's never won so much money as when he came over to SHIPIT Nation. Shout out to you. Says he likes the new core report. I think I can talk Hoopster into giving out his tight end play today if we can get to 350 likes. Let's get to 350 likes and Hoop can give out his tight end core play from the site. Definitely like that. And
if we get to that number, I'll do the tight end that's in my core, and then also
hold on. That's for 400. No, there's Tambo said 350.
Yeah,
you need
350
50 more.
For that. What do we do when we get to 400?
And then I've hit these random tight end calls this season. I'm gonna give my random tight end call as well.
Oh, the tight end whisperer.
Yes.
I can't do it today. The guy, family guy, bust out get that one going. But right now, I'm going to get something going. I'm going to give away the $100 from. I guess this one will be the random one because our other 100 is going to be member to member that our guy Jeremy's going to flip it over. But just to bring that up, right out of the gates, I'm going to give away the random 100 here to Sean Smith. He's a member. He says been a member of the nation since September. So I guess I'll flip it. I'll give away to Jeremy's. He's a member. It doesn't matter to me. But he said, I've been a member since September. I've learned a lot and still learning. No fancy rhymes or baby picks for my man Hoop. Just would appreciate the giveaway. Thanks, and let's ship it, boys. It's not really the part about making fun of Hoop picking on, picking his favorite flavor of the day. I love the part where he says, I've learned a lot and still learning. First of all, we say the more you learn, the more you earn. Well, we just proved that. There's $100 to our man, Sean. But that is the point. I think this is the thing. We are on week 18. Got 2 seconds while we wait for some of these likes to come in to give a little bit more of reflection. I know there's people that won big this season. Look at our threads. Look at our members. Doesn't matter if you were in for $40 and won 1,000. Sometimes that's just as big as turning $500 into 5,000 or $10,000 into 100,000. It really doesn't matter about that. We're trying to help people get more content, pay less for it, be able to play more contests, and find a way to build your own process. But I think one thing I wanted to reflect on was that this season, especially in NFL, not everybody can win. We know this every week. We're still there to support you, to help you, to try and make you better. But don't ever forget that just because you don't win right now, that there's not something that you picked up and learned along the way. There's lots that you're taking away that is going to come in handy. Don't forget that the people on this panel have been playing, in some cases, Hoop, I think, is 10 years plus. I'm 6 or 7 years. Title's been in it long enough now, too. Not sure exact, but the point would be we're picking up new stuff all the time that not only can we apply to the next season, but to other DFS sports. That's why we focus so much on game theory, correlation, leverage, and focus on playing the game and what the field's doing, not what are the best picks or the best plays or all that. We try and make it as easy as possible for everyone, but keep learning, keep fine-tuning what you're actually doing. And we don't just say that. We have education courses. We have other stuff set up there that you can use to get better. And then we're available all around the clock to be able to help you get better and find things out. The members and the community are phenomenal when it comes to that. It's not there to put people down and act like they're better than others. They're there to help people get better. Everyone needs to start somewhere. That's what it was all about for Hoop, myself, Title, the rest of our team. When we started this thing off, that's the key to Ship It Nation. So I don't know, Hoop, if you have anything else to add there. If you do, I'll let you hop in, and then I'll get to Dallas, Washington as we get closer to the likes for the other stuff.
I mean, the main thing, it's not like a get rich quick scheme or anything that some other places. You'll win every single day. I win no matter what I do. I win. You're gonna win if you join me and follow me. Like, that's not what this is all about. It's getting better, and not only for our members but ourselves included. Like, always important to reevaluate what you're doing on a daily basis, whether it's the contest you're entering, the way you're building teams, a variety of things. So it's not only important for our members, it's important for us as well. And again, it's all about long-term goals, long-term process, and improving that along the way. Not just, hey, sign up and you're going to win this week, you're going to win next week. Not what we're about here.
Yeah. I'm going to get to my Dallas, Washington thoughts, but someone did make a good point. Sean Smith said, still learning, no fancy rhymes, but he said, been a member since September, baby. Look at this guy. It's just natural. You just catch on when you get into it. So we definitely appreciate it. Sean, reach out to us, info@shipitnation.com. Just screenshot your YouTube and send it over. Back to the question Title asked me and my thoughts here. Definitely love this spot. I think everybody does for good reason. I think there's other ways that you can go about it. Like Hoop mentioned, I don't know if Ferguson's going to get as much love. I don't know if Brandon Cooks can get much love. You can actually play Lamb with Cooks as a way to get different. I like McLaurin on the other side. I'm not the incentive guy, as everybody clearly knows by now. But the one thing about his side of it was Sam Howell and the team was actually talking about it for McLaurin. He needs like 58 yards or something. I know it's not about the 58 yards, and that may not be enough. They were talking about getting him and how he's a good guy, a great teammate, all this stuff. I don't care about that as much as they need to pass to somebody. I'm going to be mixing in McLaurin, Dotson mostly on the other side. And then I think you can get to Dallas D. Very expensive today, but that's a way that you could get different maybe in your Pollard lineups. I also have some lineups that just have the money left over where I land on Dallas D and $9,300 left in the flex, and I can just throw CeeDee Lamb in there. The guy is absolutely incredible. He made a huge case this season for being the top wide receiver in the NFL. That's arguable, but there's other good guys out there. Titles guy Jefferson, injured this season, but still lots of good dudes out there, but he's been incredible. So I don't have to go into this game much further. I think a lot of people have interest in this spot. That's kind of where it lands for me. Hoop, Denver, Las Vegas, if nothing else to add on that one.
Yeah. Denver, Vegas, total sitting at 37.5. The one thing we know at this point is the Raiders are playing to win ball games, and their coach has done a phenomenal job since taking over. It's nice to see one of these dummy coaches get fired and then someone come in that's competent and turn the team around, and it's resulted in wins. Really cool to see what Pierce has done there with the Raiders, and they're still playing hard. You look at it last week, Devontae Adams just goes off. I think I kind of shit on him, I believe, on the show, and then he just goes nuclear. They're playing to win. Zamir White, 6K, no Josh Jacobs, good with that at home. Devontae Adams, I don't know, can you do it back-to-back? I don't know how much of Devontae Adams I'll have. No strong conviction there. But I'm kind of writing off this Broncos team, just a dead team, 17 team total, Stidham at quarterback, nothing here for me. So this game, it's White and then maybe Adams, and that's it.
Vegas D?
And Vegas D. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I was going to say, I only bring that up because the point of yesterday you brought up in the Discord for everybody, just another learning piece was, remember, even if teams are writing stuff off or they're not in it for whatever reason, the defense almost always shows up. The Raiders have one of the top defenses out there from fantasy points perspective. They've been scoring plenty, Crosby, etc., and they're playing for their coach no matter what. They want to get the job done here. So, Title, I'll kick it to you on this one. I'm pretty similar to Hoop in this spot. I maybe have a little bit more love for Devontae Adams because he is a guy that can put up 25 plus. We see him do it, but give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Zamir White, Devontae Adams. I'm going to be mixing a little Jacoby Myers too. Him and Aiden O'Connell. It's really just Devontae or Jacoby. He looks to be really low owned. Those three, Raiders defense, and definitely nothing on the Broncos side. So, yeah, I think we're all pretty much lockstep here.
Yeah, and I like the D pairing with White if it's another way to go. I'm not sure if their D will get that popular. It looks to be a little bit less owned, at least as of right now. We'll see where that goes. We said it before, no Mahomes today title. I'm going to stay right with you. We'll go to Kansas City at the Chargers. Easton Stick versus Blaine Gabbert. Man, this should be like an island game. This would be a fun island game, but it's on the afternoon slate, so we'll have to just get pieces of it as they can put up points. But give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, so Noah Gray's a talking point, 2,500. I don't know. I guess he's fine. I think Gerald Everett, I like him. He's had great rapport with Easton Stick. The price tag's still down there. Good with him. Outside of those two, definitely defenses on both sides. The Chargers defense, 2,800 only. They're going to get some ownership for sure. Blaine Gabbert hasn't started in a minute, though. So defenses, some tight ends, and that's about it in this one. It's not going to be a fun game. Again, 7 games in the afternoon window. Unless you got 7 screens or 7 TVs, this game's not going to be on mine.
Kansas City Cheeks, man. I kind of like that nickname there.
He's been around a long time. There, boy, Josh. We love it.
Yeah, he's been watching. Hoop, your thoughts on this game? Anything you want to add to this one? There is at least some conversation. Pacheco, I think now is doubtful, right? We saw it this morning.
I think he's out.
It might have already been ruled out. So people are talking about P. Ryan. I think CEH was questionable, but likely it probably plays, or at least is active, I should say. So we'll see how that goes. I mentioned Richie James. We saw in our stack rankings with Noah Gray earlier. Any thoughts you have within this one? And then obviously Chargers guys, a bunch of them out as well.
Yeah, I'm just playing the guys on the Chiefs side that just don't typically play. Like P. Ryan at running back, I'm fine getting a little bit of him. Richie James, Justin Ross, 3K, a couple 3K guys, fine with that. And then Noah Gray, I do like at tight end. Like, if they do need to pass the ball or they are passing it, he would probably be their best pass catcher out of this group. Kelsey needs 17, 18 yards. That is an incentive where I think he does end up getting there, but it's not relevant for fantasy purposes. So definitely don't play Kelsey. But I'm in on Gray. On the Chargers side, it would probably just be like Gerald Everett, I guess. That's probably it. I mean, this is a just nasty game. Both defenses are definitely Chargers defense.
So Pierre Strong, talk a little more about there's Pierre Strong, there's Mason. How does P. Ryan stack up with all those guys? He's 4,400. So, I mean, I guess, how do I say no to someone that's 4,400 as starting running back?
Yeah, well, the way you say no is the 25 fantasy point thing that we've talked about all show long, which is the clear risk with these guys. If we need these super high fantasy scores, can these guys get to 20, 25?
I don't even know if they can score 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know if they can move the ball. Yeah. Interesting, though. What are your thoughts there, Tambo, with P. Ryan?
We're going to talk about it in the next game, but I'm definitely higher on Mason than I am on P. Ryan, even with the ownership being higher. I just don't care. I trust the spot more. I trust the coach more. I trust the team. I trust what we've seen in the past. I would just go more with that, and I actually think he could hit, he can get 15-plus rush attempts, and then we can get something out of that. So I definitely feel safer there, but it's safety with upside because we've seen, it happen before late in games and with San Francisco being up. So not as high on that spot here. I do like I mentioned, Richie James as a way to get different. I like both tight ends in this game, Everett and Gray. I think they're both in good spots. So I think you could go there. After that, just not a lot of love for this spot. Obviously, Gabbert, a little sprinkle with our stack rankings, loving him so much. But like I said, that's extremely low compared to anything else. So move on. I'll let you actually take this one, title, because you just brought it up. Give us your thoughts on Mason and then the other guys within this game. We know some of the stuff. Nakua is going to get his rookie record. Probably they're going to at least force that to him and then take him out. Things like that, most likely. But what's your thoughts on this game here? It's LA San Fran.
Yeah, I definitely love Jordan Mason. I mean, it's still implied for 22 points. It's Kyle Shanahan's scheme, which is insane. They still have a solid offensive line. I really like Jordan Mason. The ownership compared to him and P. Ryan that we just talked about might be 4 or 5x difference. I'm still going to be jamming the chalk. Maybe I'm the donkey, but Mason, I project so well for this price. It makes so much work. I will be playing a lot of Jordan Mason for sure. Outside of that, I think Ronnie Rivers maybe is a little interesting at 4K. On the other side, like you said, Rams don't have anything to play for. They'll get Puka's bonus, and that's it. Still, it's not what does he need? 45 yards, something like that, for whatever it is. It's not enough. it's not enough to play Puka because once he gets it, he's coming out. I think it's just the running backs. And then you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but if you want really cheap pivots, if Christian Kirk does play and you want these 3K pivots at wide receiver, a little bit last game with the Richie James and some KC stuff, but Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley, guys like that in this game are going to be out there majority of snaps for San Fran. I think they're fine as well. Definitely not in love. And I guess if you don't play Mason, you play one of those guys and they do catch a 30-yard bomb or something like that, you have a little direct leverage that way. I'm not in love with it, but it's Jordan Mason, and Ronnie Rivers is interesting. I think he gets pretty low owned. I don't love it though.
Yeah, he might fall into some. I kind of like Ronnie Bell a little bit more on the opposite side as the leverage, like you mentioned, over the if you're not getting to Mason or a different construction where that happens, it would make sense to me. And especially over on FanDuel, I think Ronnie Bell's like 46 or 4,800. Another thing where maybe I'm not getting to Mason because a lot of the running backs over there are very affordable and much cheaper, where I could see them where those touchdowns matter and motivation spots and things like that. So I like that a little bit more. Hoop, talk to us about Jordan Mason this game, what you're doing with this one, and then we'll move on. We got 3 more games after this to round out the slate.
Yeah, I like the Mason stuff. I mean, they're at home, they're favored, they're projected to score 22 points. I think they could just kind of ride him a little bit. This team is, best team probably in that. All of them are your Ravens, one of the best teams in the NFL. I think they're still able to be productive offensively without a lot of their key guys. So in on Mason, Conley, Bell, fine with those guys as cheap wide receivers. I think they still probably want to win this game. I mean, they just seem like a prideful organization. Could knock the Rams down from the 6 to the 7. I don't know if that gets them excited or not, but that could potentially be what this game is for. On the Rams side, Ronnie Rivers, can mix him in a little bit. The pass catcher is not too much, but Davis Allen is another cheap tight end, 2,500. I think he's a fine option to mix in there as well. But yeah, I think I'm with you guys on the Mason stuff. It just makes the most sense, I think, out of all these cheap running backs.
Yeah. Let's move on. I'll stay with you. Actually, we'll go to this next one.
No Carson Wentz love? Throw it back to 2018
Absolutely
or whatever?
Not. Absolutely not. He'd be the last quarterback on the slate that I click. The last. Now he's going for 30.
I
actually did think about it for just a second.
Yeah. Keep on moving. Keep it moving.
I'm Carson Wentz, man. There was a time.
There was a time.
Yeah. You liked losing money.
No, he had his weeks.
He had a couple of good weeks.
He had his weeks. But he had his weeks, but it turned into cheeks.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that. He's had his weeks, but now he's cheeks. Listen to Hoopster go, man. He's got it going over.
He's going to go to bed and think of that one. He's proud. You can see it in the face.
I'm definitely not going to bed thinking about Carson Wentz cheeks. I'll promise you that.
Talk to me about this next one, Hoop. Seattle at Arizona. I think it's the biggest total on the slate, right? It might have surpassed the Dallas-Washington game as well. So, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray. It's kind of like a battle at every position. We got the running backs going back and forth. James Conner, Kenneth Walker. You can go throughout, but what are you doing here with this game? Seattle, Arizona.
Chat's funny. I think this is a big total here, 47.5. The Seahawks need to win this game. I think there's a lot of intrigue here for a fantasy perspective. You look at Geno, 6,100 on DK, and then what? 73? Is it on FanDuel title? 73 or 72?
Who is that again? Sorry.
Geno, 70. He's like 73 on FanDuel,
yeah, I
right?
think he's 73.
So super, super cheap on both sides. They need to win.
73. Yep.
Tyler Lockett, 5,600 on DK will get some ownership, but DK Metcalf at 72, probably not as much. I love getting some Geno stacks in here today. Absolutely love it. I want to get some exposure to Kenneth Walker as well. I mean, it's a spot where the Cardinals defense, it's in a dome. Cardinals defense isn't great. They'll give it up. So I really like the Seattle stuff here today. I think it's an interesting spot to say the least. On the Cardinal side, Michael Wilson at wide receiver, and then Trey McBride at 6K tight end. Good with that. And then I'll have some Connor as well. So this is a game I want to be on. I don't think ownership will really come into play all that much besides Geno on FanDuel. He's likely to be pretty popular, but it is a 13-game slate where we see things always kind of get spread out. But I'm really high on the Seattle stuff today.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I'll note here is that James Conner's been just crushing it lately, 25, 18, 22, 29. So while some places showed Kenneth Walker with a little bit more ownership, I actually think we could see it completely flip, especially in the higher dollar, smaller field stuff. I would expect Connor to be more popular, but the one way to get different with that title would be to go with what we just talked about and get Geno double stacked with Connor on the other side, or go Geno with Kenneth Walker and pick a receiver. We've definitely seen that work in the past. Last season when I went to the Fantasy Football World Championship, it was on a Geno Walker Metcalf stack. Actually, I just ended up having those three together, and it fit throughout the rest of the way. He can check down to him, and he could run it in that way. So lots of ways to go within this game, and I think you'd even play both running backs against each other. But give me your thoughts here. Seattle, Arizona.
Yeah, this is the nut game. My favorite game on the slate. Seattle needs to win. Arizona's going to be playing all out in a dome. I mean, give me everything in this game. Trey McBride, baby Gronk. I mean, a lot of people want to go cheap at tight end. I love jamming McBride in a lot of teams. James Conner. I mean, last week, the Eagles literally knew they were going to run it every play. Cardinals didn't even want to hide it. They still got 8, 10 a pop. James Conner's fresh. Love James Conner in this spot. I do think you're right, though. Like, for ownership, I think James Conner is probably higher owned than Kenneth Walker. Geno's going to be pretty popular. It's very clear, though. You got Lockett, you got DK. You can play Walker with Kenneth Walker. You can pick one of them. What's your thought? Kyler has been the one spot, though. No, go to the other side of the chalk quarterback. They're still going to be going all out. Connor's getting some ownership. If I play him, it's clearly with Trey McBride. He has rushing upside. He's the one. I don't even think Greg Dortch is the craziest play either. Especially if you do add Kyler. But what are your guys' thoughts on Kyler? He's the one I've been going back and forth on. And you're talking upside. We know he has that upside. Going to be extremely low owned on the other side of the chalk spot. So talk to me a little bit about him because I'm interested.
I have a little for sure. It's mainly just working around what we see happening here. Like if you know Kenneth Walker is getting a little bit of love, then what's a good way to do it is if he gets going on the ground, Kyler has to start lighting it up. But honestly, and I if I was picking one, it's going to be Dortch. Like I have stacks with this. I'm just saying, but just thinking about it out loud. And as we talk through the show, just again, I said it last week, like 14 points. Last week was a pretty big week for him. That's 14. He needs to really, really get there to get the job done. I think he would be the guy to do it. But I might just think, like a Kyler, McBride, and Kenneth Walker, or one of Metcalf, Lockett, something like that. Let that do the damage at mid-tier pricing. Like you go Kyler, McBride, and Lockett. Those are all guys that can break 25 for you, and they're all kind of mid-tier pricing. You still have cheap running backs that we've talked about on this stuff to be able to prop up the other positions. We have punt play, wide receivers. You could go double tight end. Like there's a lot of options here today to do it. So I think I would treat it more like that, the way I'm just thinking about it out loud right now. I like the other way of it. Like we talked about too, if you want to plug in James Conner, how do you do that differently, even in the higher stakes where he gets popular? Geno with a couple guys, because you can afford two. You can play Lockett and JSN. You can play Lockett and Metcalf if you want. Usually they're too expensive, but with Geno's price just $6,100 and Lockett just $5,600, JSN just $48, you could pick one of those guys with a Metcalf and get away with that as well. So I definitely think that you could set it up. I always like that opposite side thing though. And our guy, shout out to our guy, Dwayne.
Yep, I'm pulling it up. I'm in for sure. Once I saw Dwayne say it, if you're thinking the same way, I'm definitely in now. That's all I say less, man. Say less.
And good luck to Dwayne today. I know we're both up there sweating some fantasy golf world championship seats and other stuff to go with it. So good luck to you out there, man. Always love chatting it up with you. Appreciate you. Let's move on. I don't have anything more to add on this one. We got a motivated Green Bay Chicago game. So I'm going to start with you, Title. What are we going to do with this one for the Green Bay side? But Chicago would love nothing more to just shut that shit down. And they got some stuff going on as well, like DJ Moore, snub, people talk about, not even an incentive. He got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. So Fields, Komet looks like he's going to be good to go. Talk to me about this Green Bay Chicago game.
Yeah, we're still waiting on some injury news in this one too. Jaden Reed, Watson, Wicks, all questionable. I know last week Watson, they did plan that this would be the week he would return. I think Reed probably plays. Like I'm expecting him to go, but I mean, if some of those guys were ruled out, it would be a little interesting. It is in the late game though. Justin Fields, one of my favorite quarterbacks on the slate today. Like he has everything to prove. People, are they going to be drafting Caleb Williams? Are they going to trade down to get Marvin Harrison? Like is his last game in Chicago? I love Fields. Love the pairing with DJ Moore. I never run naked quarterbacks, but I don't know. I still probably would pair him with DJ Moore. You can totally see Fields getting 100 plus on the ground though, and that be it. Packers side, I love Aaron Jones. There's no A.J. Dillon. Must-win game for Green Bay. They're winning. They're in. Love Aaron Jones in this spot. I think he has a lot of pass catching upside in this matchup. And then as far as the receivers, if Jaden Reed plays, I have some interest there at 5,700. If he's out and like Wicks is in, then I like some Wicks, Christian Watson, etc. So you mentioned earlier in the slate about late swap, definitely important. But assuming all of them are in, I think I like Jones the most, and then there'd be as a run back for a lot of field stuff. Don't love Jordan Love stuff as much though.
It's a big total for Lambeau Field with Green Bay versus Chicago. Everything is going on here, and it is interesting in the chat talking about, again, we'll wait on other stuff. I know, like they said, like Luke Musgrave got pulled off the IR. We're waiting on the Reed, the Watsons, those are the world, the Wickses, all this stuff. But I believe the biggest news was probably on the defensive side of this game. I think for Chicago, right? Jalen Johnson ruled out. That opens things up. And Love has been phenomenal. We talked about this all season long. Like I've mentioned it almost every single week. Another 28 last week. Like people talk about getting you your 20 plus points. We were 25. We want 25, 24, 27, 24, 24, 28. All these weeks. His bad weeks are like 18. There's lots of opportunity here for this stack. And if you want a late swap off of the Dallas game or off of something else like the Seattle-Arizona game, whatever it might be, definitely a spot that you could land here, I think, for sure. So, Hoop, what's your thoughts on this one? Chicago, Green Bay, and we're at about 310 likes. So, got to let the people know 312 we just hit. If we don't get to 350, no more giveaways, and Hoop won't give out the play. We got to threaten it now. It's the new year. Got to keep it legit, though. We're trying to get to 500. We have almost 700 people watching. Takes 2 seconds to take a second, just hit that thumbs up. Hoop, give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, it's a very appealing game. I mean, the one thing that immediately stands out to me is A.J. Dillon out and maybe some of these pass catchers out or dinged up for the Packers, which leads me right to Aaron Jones at a really good price tag in a must-win spot. Like they need to win this game. I think they ride Aaron Jones, and they can do it in a variety of ways. On the ground, pass catching stuff, I think Jones has a huge game today. Aaron Jones is one of my favorite plays on the slate. Late swap opportunity, like you guys said, depending on who's in or out for the Packers, it seems pretty damn wide open with a lot of these guys. I mean, it looks like true game time decisions. So we need to see, but really like Aaron Jones. And depending on who's in or out for the pass catchers, we could see someone emerge as a solid play at low ownership because people aren't going to want to wait on this news. Agree with you guys on the field stuff. I mean, just nothing to lose in the spot. I mean, he should just be going for it, trying to knock the Packers out. The best way the Bears can knock the Packers out is have the ball in Justin Fields' hand. Great connection with DJ Moore as well. Sounds like Cole Kmet is going to play, I believe. What was the report? It was
that was
this
what
morning.
it was. He's likely to be good to go.
Expected to be available, which is good for Fields. Should be low owned. Just a great game. Aaron Jones for sure. Justin Fields, DJ Moore, and then some Cole Kmet. And then depending on the Packers, wide receivers, could see a couple guys emerge as solid values.
I got to ask you this. You put my Mayo video on blast with rank these guys. So I'm going to put you on the spot for a rank these guys. It is pretty interesting. The afternoon
hopefully a better result.
Yeah, hopefully a better result. I'm sure you'll be just fine. Not as bad as me. We got a little bit more experience. But so from 6,100 to 6,500, all afternoon games, you've got James Conner, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, and Tony Pollard, all right there. There's other guys on the slate, but I'm saying and even actually 6,000 includes Zamir White. So you can write them down. Zamir White, the two guys in the Seattle-Arizona game, Aaron Jones, and then there was one more. I forget. Oh, Pollard. That's all 6K to 6,500.
Yeah, I got to write it down. Yeah, now I see how this shit gets fucked up real quick when you start rattling off all these names.
It ain't easy.
It's definitely going to be Aaron Jones 1 for me. It's going to be Pollard 2. Again, I love the passing stuff on the Cowboys, but man, that team total sitting at 30. I just want a lot of exposure there. Kenneth Walker over James Conner, I think, just because I really like the Seattle side, but I do like Conner as well. And then you said Zamir White. Yeah, he's got to be somewhere. He's somewhere in the middle of that combination, probably third, I'd say.
Hoop goes, I got these guys 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this guy lands 2.5.
He's coming back in the middle. He's circling back.
How hard it is. That's what I'm saying. Title. Did you have any thoughts? You don't have to rank them, but is there a standout of that 5 where you're like, or anything that makes you think about for how tournaments are going to shake out?
Kenneth Walker is definitely my least favorite. I know that for sure. I think Pollard will probably be the most. I think Pollard and Jones are probably the most popular in the group, which has me. I don't know. White's get some too. I like all of them. Maybe Pollard's 4th in the list in tournaments. I really like Conner. I really like Aaron Jones. I really like Zamir White. Ranking them's really tough though, but I know for sure Kenneth Walker is my least favorite in that range. And I think Pollard's going to be probably up there for ownership. So I think he probably would be fourth. The other three I like a lot and I'll have a lot. Jones may be one. Must win game. No AJ Dillon, pass catching. Maybe he is one.
Yeah, I don't have a good rank for him either. I think I do like the Seattle, Arizona guys. Pollard, I don't know. I don't really love Zamir as much. I guess same as Hoop. Hoop like waited till the end and then put him back in the middle, but I probably keep him that way. And then the other one is the Aaron Jones one. I just think can be leveraged pretty easily. I wonder if in the higher dollar, smaller field stuff, I think he gets even more popular. And if we end up getting Reed, whatever we end up getting with that core there and things opening up in the secondary for Chicago, big total still. I know he makes sense, but I could still see one of those guys outdoing him and getting a little bit different that way where we're in the right place. But lineups that, the optimal and the winning lineup show up with like, oh, it was Reed instead, another big Reed game or something like that. If again, assuming that he plays. So,
I mean, 3 of those 5, I mean, they're all strong plays. If you play even 2 of them, and 3 of those 5, that means you're fading the cheaper stuff, which is interesting. You don't play, I mean, then you can't play the 2 Jefferson, CD, etc. All of them at 25 plus point upside. You wouldn't be shocked if they're on the winners. So very interesting, get different roster construction, etc. But they're all good plays in that range.
Yeah, and good point here. Mixon too. He's right in that same pricing range too that we talked about in that game that we kind of like. So man, it's definitely an interesting.
He would be last though. I'll play some, but he would be last.
Remember last week when Hoop brought up the same giveaway winner after that? Him and Ross both not.
You're just trying to nail Hoopster to close up the show, trying to list like 8 dudes to rank, and now
get me back. It's been a long season, but we were talking. The reason we brought that group up, and I even forgot about Zamir White, was because the afternoon slate and how not just the afternoon only, but the fact of like late swap, you have multiple options that you can get to in the afternoon. This is a really big slate for that. So I don't have too much else to add there.
I need a grandma's wheelchair comment to get back at you now.
Well, hey, by the way, we're going to hit the 350 likes. I know everyone's going to do it for us. So we will be giving away $100 to a random person because I already gave it away to a member. I saw Sean was a member, but also we're going to be giving away a month membership. So if you want a free month at SHIPIT Nation, go in the chat right now. Let us know why. We'll analyze this game, break it all down. We'll get to that. If you're a member, throw it in there as well for the $100 in Discord or in the YouTube chat, and we'll try and get after that one as well. Appreciate you guys smashing that like button. Title, I'll go to you this final game here. We got the Giants, New York, the other New York team, Giants at home against the Eagles. Some Tyrod Taylor, maybe opportunity here. He's had a couple of decent spots coming in, but what are we doing here with this one?
Yeah, Tyrod, I mean, he balled last week, but you said we need 25-30. Tyrod's not the guy I want to click for 25-30. If anyone on the Giants side, I mean, Waller and Saquon look to be completely unowned. I still think they're going to be rolling out their guys. Like, unless you guys see something different, I think Saquon could get 20-plus touches in this spot at sub 5% as a contrarian running back. So kind of in that same ETN boat. Again, you play 7% in MME, you're probably overweight. Waller tight end will be unowned. I do much prefer, I guess McBride's a little more expensive, but probably just those two. I don't know, Slate and Wendell Robinson, I think just one-offs for the Giants. And I will play them more so in Philly stuff. Hurts, Goddard, A.J. Brown. There's no Devontae Smith. It's clearly those guys. You got Hurts with the tush-push stuff. Swift looks to be a little unknown. I'm not going to be messing with the running back room anyway. I think Hurts is fine. A.J. Brown, Goddard at tight end, and then any of those Waller, Slayton, Robinson, Saquons. Don't love any of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of them gets there. And in Eagle stuff is run backs is how I'll mainly use them.
Yeah, I want to talk about this one a little bit more, so I'm going to get in. I'll let Hoop go first. But before he does, we always say less small talk, more slate talk. I know we're getting up to the hour and a half when we usually end up a big slate, last one of the year. We can have a little small talk quick. Let us know in the chat. I want to know this. This might be how you win. I'll decide. Why do people not hit the like button? Tell me your best reason why you think people do not hit the like button when there's almost 700 people watching. And I saw like one comment come in and say, I hit the like button now that there's free shit. Fair enough. That makes sense. I get it. But I'm just curious why you think why do people hold on to their like button like it's not free? That's what I want to know, because it takes 2 seconds. You click it. I don't know why, obviously lazy, but you're staring at the screen on your phone where it's right there, or on your computer. Bang, just did it like that. It takes 2 seconds. So Hoop, give me your thoughts on this game. Will people start throwing that in the chat? Punks. One guy said, yeah, maybe. Philly at the Giants. And I want to talk too from that perspective. Philly, I get where they're at too, but they still should play hard. It's going on at the same. Everyone keeps saying, oh, but it's going on at the same time as Dallas, and Dallas is going to just be pummeling Washington. We've seen this shit a bunch, man. Like I talked earlier, been doing this. You're doing it 10 plus years playing this game. There's been that scenario so many times where guess what? It's a 1 touchdown game at the half or somehow this, and now Philly goes all out. Plus, there's stuff with A.J. Brown. Like, why wouldn't you want to get this guy rolling? And he's coming in way lower owned than, I mean, I don't know. He may come in Amon-Ra land there. Maybe he's the guy to go to, but Jefferson, Lamb, the other plays that we've got on the slate, and then just different roster construction in general. Give me your thoughts on this game, how you see it breaking down.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a must-win spot for the Eagles. Clearly, they want that, to win the division. I mean, if they win the game and Dallas loses, they win the division. They get the, I think they'll get the 2 seed home playoff game. Everyone wants that shit. So the risk here would be if they are playing this game and they happen to look at the scoreboard and Dallas is beating the shit out of Washington, and they say, okay, you know what, we're done. What is the chance of that happening? Like, what is the likelihood? How many points does Dallas need to be ahead by before Philadelphia says, all right, now we're putting all our backups in? Like, that is just impossible stuff to predict. Like, it's just impossible to predict. I can't do it. And I guess if you have some sort of read on the situation, maybe you gain an advantage today. I don't. So I'll be playing Philadelphia stuff pretty heavily. And it's more consolidated offense now with DeAndre Swift out. Hurts to A.J. Brown looks very tasty. Hurts to Dallas Goedert looks very nice today. I don't really like the DeAndre Swift stuff all that much. Julio Jones, they got him. I mean, he's getting red zone looks. And, can he get to 25 today? Probably not. But what he did last game, or probably somewhere close to it. I don't mind mixing him a little bit in those Jalen Hurts teams. But, yeah, I'll be playing Philadelphia here in a big way. Saquon, college, I mean, he should be unowned. I mean, definitely unowned. Only, 4.5-point underdogs, but would get all the work here. I don't know if I'll necessarily get there. Don't hate the call, though. And then the pass catchers for the Giants, not a ton of interest for me here. I mean, maybe a little bit of Slayton or Wan'Dale Robinson, but not like priority plays for me at all. But I will be on the Philadelphia stuff. I'm not going to buy into them watching the scoreboard and saying, all right, Dallas is up by 2 touchdowns. Now we're taking our foot off the pedal. Like, they don't know what the circumstances are in the game. They have no idea. So I'm on Philly.
Yeah, guy Dwayne is back, and he said it, man. It's tough for Tyrod to stay healthy. The guy could go out in the first quarter for all we know. But, man, he's got a couple games this season, 21, 23. He could put him up. He's actually made Slayton look pretty good. I mean, look at Slayton's numbers all season and look at the couple weeks he's played with Tyrod. It's looked good. So I could go that route. I think it's very interesting if you wanted to go just Tyrod, Slayton, maybe even Waller if you want to get different. But definitely, I think this A.J. Brown thing on the other side at least has me a little bit more enticed for the fact that I just, like Hoop said, when does he sit there and say, okay, we can shut it down now? Like, Dallas has to be up, 3 touchdowns? And then even then, that could change. But when does that happen? By when? And A.J. Brown, they're still going to be trying to win. What if they get to the 2 touchdowns early and both of them go to A.J. Brown? Your day is probably done. In a lot of cases out there, from what I can see from ownership, if he gets 2 early touchdowns or something, you're in big trouble. And there's definitely a possibility here. Smith out, squeaky wheel stuff, needing to get the win on the road in New York. I know it's a division back and forth, but they know both sides, so I could see it happening definitely. Hoop, did you have some of these favorites that you pulled up? I think we're going to get to 400 here. There's some that I'm seeing, just any that stood out to you as we're on our way to 400. People said lazy because it's free and you're asking. That's fine, but that's part of it. Again, you don't have to be here. It's a free show. Lots of good shows.
We got a member and a non-member, right?
Yeah, that's what we'll need. Yeah, member and a non-member.
I got the member. This
made me laugh. I just had to bring this up.
I like that one too.
The member is going to be our guy, Super Hua? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, Super Hua. Good comments in the chat today, and then he's in the Discord as well. So he'll be the member winner.
All right, shout out to Super Hua. They said competitors watching, people suck. They're from other websites. Wi-Fi too slow. Haters is a common one, definitely. So I respect the hustle. That's why I like that someone said, always hit their freeloaders. Definitely no excuses. Membership giveaways, things like that. I mean, a lot of people I think that's what it might be. Listening while driving. Yeah, maybe that's something on Sunday.
Yeah, that could play a factor. Definitely. I agree. And then someone says it's like hard to hit the like on your phone because you have to minimize the chat first. So that could be an
extra 2 seconds.
Yeah, that ain't hard. If that's the hardest thing you got going in life, you got a great life.
Your favorite site, your favorite site. Yeah, that's a big one. You know, they got to come over here and get the news so they know what to say on
Maybe
their show.
If you're not logged in a YouTube account, that was the one that makes sense to me. Like if it shows you're watching, don't have one, or you're not signed in, that can be that's the only thing in my head.
What about if you're like streaming through your TV? Like, I guess you could do it with the remote control, right? And build it.
That's tough. If so, but what out of 634 right now, how many are doing that? 12? Over 100.
But we got to almost 400. I do feel good about it now. We got 600 something watching.
Who's got to give out tight end, and then the other tight end hoop. The people did it.
Yeah. Who give us first your core play, because some people will know this one if they watch the whole show. Give us the core one first. And then a title, if you can find somebody random to win the membership, if you can just scroll back while he's giving his 2 plays here, we'll give away one more monthly all-access membership to SHIPITNation.com.
I did made a lot of changes throughout the show to my core player pool. Just from our conversations, I was initially on Noah Gray, who I still like him. I have a lot in MME, but man, for my core play at tight end, I got to go with our boy Munt the Punt. I mean, it's just too good to be true. The name, everything. So he's going to be core tight end, but the random tight end play, because people have asked for it. It's going to be Harrison Bryant for the Browns. Fits good if you're playing some of that Browning to chase stuff. Harrison Bryant, I just have a random feeling he finds the end zone today at 2.5K.
Yeah, bet the anytime touchdown. It's probably where it's going to come through. I'm not sure if he's getting us to the 20-plus points, but Hoop is the tight end.
That is the one spot, though, where you could temper your expectations a little bit. Yeah. Full punt, tight end, like it can, even if there is a higher scoring tight end, all the way down at 2,500 does a lot for roster construction. So I think we can take that 25 down to, 18?
Even I honestly was going to say 12 to 15. Again, he's 2,500, still minimum. So at least with that one, it's to prop up everything else that you get within your lineup. But then you probably want to be looking again to see. That's where I think some people, again, just a quick note, that's where I think you could get into some trouble, because then they go, oh, but give me just one more punt and give me just one more really low price running. And they think they're going to get it all. And it ends up being something you needed, like a Geno, Lockett, McBride with that punt to make it work, because those guys all get 35. And that makes up for your Harrison Bryant, so on and so forth. Double min tight end, Derek says, is the move. You could go Gray and Bryant. You can mix a bunch of different guys in. But one of our guy Beetlebane, shout out to him, says, I really like the new core. So definitely like that one as well. Title, did you find our final winner of the day of the regular season? Our final winner. We'll have lots more giveaways throughout the playoffs. Like Hoop said, we'll be back Saturdays and Sundays. Saturday on our station, over at YouTube, YouTube.com/@ShipItNation. And then obviously here on Sundays with you guys on the Mayo Media Network. Go ahead, Title. Sorry.
Yeah, I did. To be honest, there's so many comments and people really haven't been asking for it. So I only saw 2 comments asking for it. And I really feel for the man that has been shoveling snow since 7 a.m.
Nice.
That is part of the reason I moved away from the cold. So yeah, you deserve a membership for shoveling snow, man. Hope things get better.
Paulin Boats, congratulations. Reach out to us, info@shipitnation.com. Just screenshot your YouTube account so we know it's you. We'll get you in before lock today. No pump. We show projections all the time, different shows, different things. They're all free. Sometimes we do it one way, sometimes we do it others. But with 13 games, we had a lot to get through. If you want our projections, they're very easy to get and very cheap to get. You can go over to the site. You can use code MAYO to get yourself 10% off. If you do an all access to get all of those sports, it works out to about $62 for the month, or like $2 a day, and you get projections and ownership for all those sports. For NBA, they're updated right up to lock a bunch, and then for every game set and throughout the night until the final game starts. For NFL, multiple times throughout the week. PGA's we come out on Tuesdays. Most sites only start on Wednesdays with their initials. We got Tuesday early, Wednesday at least 2 updates before the final, and then we've got MMA coming back soon, NHL in full swing, and MLB not that far. It's just around the corner. So Title, I'll go to you, man. Final thoughts, final regular season slate of the season.
Man, it's crazy. I remember it was like week 2, week 3. We always joke around. Like next thing you know, it'll be week 18, free money Sundays, all that's over. And here it is. It goes by fast. Still got playoffs and stuff. But hey, appreciate all the support as always. Throughout the year, always fun hopping on these shows. Sunday morning, and let's hit a bang. Let's see some Shipping Nation logos up top. And again, FanDuel does have Miami Buffalo tonight. Make sure you remember that. Big difference, that site and DraftKings. But hey, good luck, everybody. And we really do appreciate it out there.
Yeah, I love that last call too. You mentioned it earlier, but just to note, if I didn't touch on it enough, I do like that game on FanDuel just because I don't know if people leave it alone because it's late in the night or whatever. If they do or don't, they're expensive in some places, but there's lots going on within that game. And it's a way to get different for some that might not even be paying attention over on that site. Hoop, go to you, man. Final thoughts, week 18, final regular season show of the season.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We need to monitor the news here, monitor the inactives. I'm sure there's going to be a couple, surprise names that pop up on the list. So we'll keep you monitored in our Discord on that. We've got 6 more minutes before inactives start to drop. So make sure to follow that. And again, we'll be in the Discord. Our content will be updated. Appreciate all the support through the regular season. And I was thinking about it, like they're actually the YouTube people are going to get more of us because now we have 2 shows, one on Saturday and Sunday for the next few weeks. So you guys actually get more of us moving forward for the next few weeks. NFL playoffs, nothing's like it. So fun, so exciting. The best ball stuff. We're partnered with Drafters. Code SHIPIT gets you 100% match on 100% on $100 deposit. So we'll have that going. Just really excited for the playoffs and really excited where we're at here for week 18. I think it's going to be a big week. Let's get those Ship It Nation logos to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for all the support throughout the regular season. Like Hoop said, we'll be back next Saturday. Those shows are always about an hour or less, right? We got yesterday's in, I think, in 56 minutes. So if you wanted to watch them back, even on playback, you can put it on 1.5 or 2x, get through it pretty quickly. But it's been an amazing regular season. Thank you guys all for watching, supporting, helping us out along the way, growing the nation, joining the community. If you haven't, you can still get in. Thanks to Mayo for hosting us on this channel all the time and for the future shows that we'll have. Showdown, we got one more coming back for Monday night, by the way, January 15th. This trio will be back for, I think, the last Monday Night Football show of the season, so we'll be there for that. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Really appreciate everybody. For Title, for Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it!